To solve a quadratic equation, we have three methods. The easiest method, of course, is to graph the quadratic equations and then see where the function crosses the x-axis. So I graphed y is equal to 2x squared plus 12x plus 10. And as you can see, the x-intercepts are -5, 0 and -1, 0. And so our solutions are x equals -5 and x equals -1. But there are times when we will have to do these types of problems without a graphing calculator. So if we're going to do that, we're going to need other methods. So we could use factoring. If you'll recall, factoring is where you put your polynomial inside of a box and then you create factors on the sides, or you could use algebra tiles. So what I've done here is I've taken the polynomial 2x squared plus 12x plus 10 and set it equal to 0. I noticed that all these terms have a factor of 2, so I factored out the 2 and got 2 times x squared plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. And then I took the trinomial and I put it in this box. The x squared term I put in one corner, and the 5 goes in the opposite corner. If you multiply the two together, x squared times 5 is 5x squared. So I knew the other two corners had to have a product of 5x squared. So I used 5x and 1x, which give me a product of 5x squared, and they have a sum of 6x. And then I placed my factors on the side of the box, x plus 5 and x plus 1. Now, replacing the trinomial with the two binomials gave me 2 times x plus 5 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then I set each factor equal to 0 and solved. And got the same two solutions. X is equal to -5 and x is equal to -1. Now we have a completely different way to solve, and that is completing the square. So the first thing we can do is divide out the common factor of 2. That's because you'll notice in the previous problem that 2 that was in front really doesn't do anything as far as the zeros are concerned. It just makes the graph steeper or fatter, but it doesn't change your x-intercept, so you don't really need it. Then we'll move the constant, which is the plus 5, to the opposite side of the equation and get x squared plus 6x equals -5. And here's where the completing the square part comes in. We're going to place the x squared term in the corner of the box. And we're going to take the 6x and split it into 2 even parts. So I'm using 3x and 3x because I'm completing a square. That means the dimensions have to be the same. Now, we need to fill in that bottom corner to make a square. So the way that we do that is we simply multiply the coefficients. The 3 times the 3 will give us a 9. So you're going to add that 9 to both sides of this equation. And you'll get x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to -5 plus 9. Now, these factors on the side of the box are x plus 3, so I'm rewriting the left side, the trinomial, as a binomial squared. X plus 3 squared is equal to 4. And then I'm taking the square root of both sides, which removes the square, and I get x plus 3 is equal to plus or minus 2. And if you recall in graspable math, that's really two separate equations. X is equal to -3 plus or minus 2. Would give me x equals -3 plus 2 and x equals -3 minus 2. So I'm getting the same two solutions. X is equal to -5 and x is equal to -1. So again, the three methods we have for solving is factoring, then there's graphing, and then there's completing the square. In all cases, use your probably graph to check your solutions. But there are times coming, if you take a college algebra course, for example, you may not have access to Desmos to check your solutions. So you have to know the other two methods of factoring and completing the square.